and welcome to Skein Studio. My name is Kristen. You can find me on Ravelry as K10, that's K10, and on Instagram as Skein Yarn. Hope you're all doing really well. Today we are actually in the studio. I have been getting this front space ready for opening. It's very exciting. I can't wait. We will be opening up the shop here one day a week. What is that saying? Sorry, my camera's flashing, but I think it's okay. Yes, it is definitely recording. Yes, so Paul and I are getting the studio ready to open up in December. We're hoping first week, fingers crossed, of December we'll be opening up one day a week. If you're interested, if you're local, if you come up the coast, come past Coffs Harbour, keep an eye on our website, on our Instagram page, and I'll be posting the exact time that we're going to be open. And yeah, it's really exciting. There are quite a few things left to do. I've given myself a deadline of 3 weeks to get this ready. I have quite a few things left to do. One of them is to fill this area up here. We had a sale when we got back from holidays, which I'll talk about later, the holidays, and we sold out a lot of our yarn. So I'm now restocking, putting fresh colours and trying to sort of make the colour palette a bit more seasonal for us here in Australia, which is hard because when I'm online, I try to take into account that I'm selling to Northern Hemisphere as well as Southern Hemisphere, so my colours are always a mix of whatever season we're in. At the moment we're still in autumn north and here spring, so I try and juggle, but I think with the shop what I'm going to do is try and make it more of a Australia based colour scheme. So whatever season we're in, I will have samples and colours to reflect the weather. Anyway, it's really exciting. I can't wait. So yes, it's been a long time since I actually podcasted. As you know, if you watched the most recent podcast, Paul and I went overseas. We went to Greece in September. We came back mid sort of October. Life has been really busy, particularly here. We've opened up wholesale, so we've had lots of wholesale accounts started, and I've been dyeing up yarn to send there to the shops. I've had clubs and lots of things happening, so very busy, and I've been wanting to podcast, but finding time has been quite full on, but I think I'm all caught up now, so I can concentrate on putting a podcast out and getting the fun stuff done, like the shop and blog posts and all that sort of thing. So yeah, I hope you're all really well. It is extremely smoky outside. If you don't know, a lot of New South Wales has bushfires, up into Queensland as well. They're really bad this year because of the drought. So yeah, we have just had smoke haze for the last couple of weeks. It's really terrible, as in it's terrible for those people who are affected. Luckily we're far away from trees and forests. We're actually down at the beach, our house, but this studio backs onto a reserve, so hopefully nothing happens here. But yes, it's terribly smoky outside and lots of ash. So my hay fever and asthma has been playing up pretty badly. So if I keep itching my nose, that's why. Okay, now, so we went away, as I just said, to Greece, and I took a project with me. I only took a one skein project because that was all I could fit in my bag. We took very small bags, and I actually have it up here. I did hardly any knitting. I was so tired by the end of the day. We hired a motorbike and toured Greece, the Epirus region of Greece, and up into northern Macedonia, and it was a lot of fun. We just saw the most amazing sights. Greece is just stunning. I love Greece. But yes, it was very tiring. So at the end of the day, when we got back to our hotel or accommodation, we usually hired a self-catering accommodation. We were pretty much tired. So it was basically have a beer, have dinner, watch an episode of whatever, and then go to bed. So yeah, I didn't get a lot of knitting done, but what I did take with me was the Droplet Capelet by Denise Bayron, and it is actually, I'll put a picture up of her pattern. It's one of the, I would say it's a really good travel project. It's you can, depending on what size you're knitting, you knit with either 1 or 2 skeins. I only took 1 skein with me. I knit the small size. I like the idea of it being a capelet, but I actually really like it, excuse me, as a cowl. And I'll show you. So I actually finished this when we got back, and it didn't take very long to finish. So this is the capelet here. I used our skein of our top drawer sock in the colourway Pixelated, and I think this pattern is really works really well with speckled yarn. The lace really kind of breaks up the speckles, and it just looks so pretty. I'm really happy with it. I'll put it on quickly. So this is how I like to wear it, just as a loose cowl. You can actually put it over your shoulders, so if you're wearing a dress or a tank top or something at night and it gets a bit cold, you can actually push it over your shoulders. But yeah, it looks really nice as a cowl. And I like the neck because most cowls gape open. I don't really like wearing cowls a lot, but this one I really like. It sort of bunches in on your neck and keeps you really warm, and it sort of has this nice modern graphic sort of lace pattern. I really like it. So this one I finished when I got back from holidays, and it was a very quick knit. It was a great holiday project, even though I didn't have much energy to knit on it when we were away, but it's repetitive but not boring. You don't need to look at the pattern once you get the first round of the lace in. I mean, of course the neck is just a simple rib, and then it's just a very simple pattern with an increase and the same 2 rows over and over again. I could knit on it, stop halfway and put it down, and then pick it up and know exactly where I was. So great for holidays. And of course it's such a lovely piece to wear when you're finished. So yes, that's one of the makes that I finished. The other thing that I finished is the classic Smocking cardigan. This is by PetiteKnit. This is it here. I saw this pattern, I can't remember how I actually came across it. Must have just been pattern searching and it came up. And I absolutely love this texture, the Smocking stitch pattern. It's just so beautiful. I knew I really wanted to knit it, so I had some DK. We have our Voyage DK available now to custom dye, always, so you can always order it. So I had quite a lot of that in stock. So I think I might have dyed up 8 skeins for this project. That's what the pattern called for, and I was a little bit dubious as to whether I would need all that yarn, but I dyed it up anyway, and I'm so glad I did, because this Smocking pattern eats yarn. It's really heavy. It's kind of like cables, how it sucks in, and it just takes a lot of yarn to knit, because your wrapping stitches as you go, so it just yeah, it takes a lot of yardage. So if you do knit this pattern, just be aware that you will need a lot of yarn. I did also knit the sleeves longer than the pattern calls for, because my arms are naturally longer anyway, but I really love in winter having very long sleeves and having them pull over my hands like gloves. So yeah, I knit this with the Voyage DK in the colourway Eden. It was a new colourway that I came up with, I think it was just before we left to go away. And I'm not usually a fan of green, but I love this. It sort of has a tealy overtone. So it's got the forest green and then the teal over the top of the colour. So in certain lights it looks green, and then in other lights it looks blue. It's a very hard yarn to photograph, very hard colour to photograph. I've done my best on the website, but yeah, it's sort of a mix of colour. And I do tend to be drawn more towards blue tinted colours. Sort of suits my skin a little bit better. So yeah, I really like this. What can I say? I didn't do any modifications except for extending the sleeve length. I put these buttons on, and it was really weird. I went into my button stash and I didn't think I was going to find anything in there, but lo and behold, I had 5 perfectly matching buttons for this cardigan. It was incredible. I just couldn't believe it. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else I could say. I would have worn this today, but it's actually really hot, so yeah. So that's that. I am wearing the Row cardigan by This Bird Knits. I finished this, I took this project with me to Bendigo when we went down for the Bendigo show, and I worked on it down there, and I finished it pretty shortly after we came back. So it's a very long cardigan with pockets, which is fantastic. But yes, it comes down to thigh length, I guess. And I'm actually wearing this quite a lot at this time of year in spring, where it's it can in the mornings be a little bit chilly and at night, but of course during the day it gets really hot, so it's great. It's a layering piece. I can just take it on and off as I need to. Right, so what I've been working on, I'll just grab my things. So I cast on, before we left to go away on holidays, I cast on for the Dottie Jane Shawl by Knit Graffiti, and it's a brioche eyelet lace and brioche lace pattern. It's quite amazing. So this is what I've done so far. So there's the brioche lace, the eyelets, that's the lace, back to plain brioche, and then yeah, I've just finished the brioche lace. I've done the eyelet row, I have the scalloped border, and then I'm done. So I'm almost finished, and I've really enjoyed knitting this shawl. I like the fact that it's in sections, so you're not kind of, I find shawls can be a bit repetitive. Sometimes that's a good thing, because I quite like just sitting back and knitting, and that's all I need. But I did have projects where I was doing that. The classic Smocking cardigan that I was just talking about, the stitch pattern on that looks complicated, but once you get it, you don't need to look at the pattern again. So that's kind of a very kind of relaxing knit. So it was good to have that, and then this, because I could, if I got home in the afternoon and I wanted to have a bit of a challenge, or you know, on the weekdays in the morning I might get up, have my coffee, and then sit down and do a few rows on this. It was good because it was sort of charts and, you know, having to pay attention to what I was knitting. So yeah, it was good. And also you have the brioche, which is pretty basic, the eyelet, which is pretty basic, and then the brioche lace, which is pretty full on. I had to really pay attention to what I was doing. So you sort of have sections where you don't have to think too much, and then you get to a section where it's quite difficult. But I really enjoyed it. I'm really enjoying it, and I can't wait to finish it. So this will be one of our samples here in the shop. It only uses 2 skeins of yarn. It's such a good pattern for contrasting colours. I used our golden hour, which is, as you can see, yellows and oranges, and this kind of purpley pink with a bit of green that's bizarre. And yeah, they worked up really nicely. This is the contrast side. As you can see, you can't really see the brioche that great on the back side of it, but it looks great. You can see the shadow behind the lighter colour. So yeah, really enjoying that. The other pattern that I've been working on is the Casapinka Look Squirrel cardigan. So I saw this come up a couple of weeks ago, and I liked the idea of having something just really simple that I could knit up, have here as a shop sample for our DK yarn. This is, I think she brought this out for Rhinebeck, this pattern. And I've got loads of it done. It is such an easy pattern. Okay, so I need to tell you, this is where I did alternate skeins, and I totally failed in doing that. So what happened was I had 4 skeins that I dyed up for this pattern, and I knew that there was, because they were the same dye lot, there was 2 that were light and 2 that were darker. So I caked them up, and I was sitting at home in the dark watching TV, and I thought maybe I should just leave this till the morning, and then I can make sure that I've got the skeins or the cakes properly together, because I wanted to mix a dark and a light and a dark and a light. But I really needed something to knit, so I just grabbed what I thought was the 2, what I thought was one was light and one was dark, but actually what ended up happening was they were both dark and both light. So as you can see, it's a total fail when it comes to alternating skeins. But when you look at it in person, I mean, it looks, obviously there's quite a difference. You can see it's almost like I haven't alternated, but I have. But it's not great, and I had thought about ripping back when I realised that this was knitting up way darker, because I was knitting this top part and I was thinking that's not really how I thought this colourway would knit up, and the colourway is called Sanguis, which is a dark red, but I just kept knitting it, and then when I got here I realised my mistake in matching up the cakes of yarn. So even though it looks blocky, in a way it doesn't look too bad on, because it just kind of looks like it's faded, like it's got fading from light to dark, or you know what I mean, dark to light, other way around. So anyway, it's a bit of a shame, but anyway, I still really like the pattern. It's a great pattern. Basically it's a lace yoke, very simple lace yoke at the top. Then you're doing yoke, circular yoke, increases, splitting for the sleeves, and then it's just knit all the way down. Very simple. I've done 1 button band, which is the moss stitch, or is it seed stitch? I always get those 2 confused. And then I've picked up for the other side for the button band. I have put, the pattern doesn't have any buttons in it, But I've noticed when Casapinka, the designer, has been wearing it, she's got a little clasp up the top. So I thought I would just put in a little buttonhole just at the top here so that when it closes, it'll just close with one button at the top. What was I going to say? Oh, the other thing is that I don't have a hell of a lot of yarn left. I have this cake and then one that's probably about the same size. So sleeve length, I don't know if I'm going to get full sleeves. I might do 3/4, or I was thinking I might even just do short sleeves and leave it at that. I'm still deciding what to do. But yeah, this was a bit of a shame. But yeah, this is a good learning lesson. I mean, I've been knitting for a very long time and I always knit with hand dyed yarn, and I know how they can do this kind of thing. So it's a good lesson for me to be more mindful about matching yarns together when I'm doing projects. I mean, usually yarns are fine. Usually they look fine in a batch, but I knew with this lot that I dyed that there was quite a variation within the dye lot, so I needed to be careful. But yeah, I powered on ahead and I didn't think, and this has happened, but that's okay. I'll call it a fade, an unintentional fade. So that's all of my projects. I'm just looking at my notes because I have plans. So I went and visited my parents. It was my birthday 2 weeks ago, and I took my Love Note sweater up. I'm looking here because I have all my samples hanging up for the shop. So exciting! I took my Love Note up, this one, which my mum saw a picture of. Actually, she came to Bendigo with my dad, and they called in to see us at the store, and she was looking at this and she loved it. So I took it down for her to try on, and it fits her perfectly. It just needs to be a little bit longer. So I have plans to knit my mum another Love Note, well, a Love Note, another Love Note for me. And she was after a very bright blue as the sock yarn, and then the mohair I'm going to pair it with a deeper blue, so you'll have these lovely bright sections of blue poking out through the darker blue. I think it's going to be beautiful. So I am still deciding what two colours I'm going to do, but yeah, that's one thing I'm going to be knitting. Mum's not in any rush for it because of course we're in summer now. She's not going to wear it until autumn, so I've got months to cast that on. The other now I've got mohair up my nose. The other pattern that I want to do is the Ember sweater. This is by, and I'm sorry, I'm going to pronounce this really badly, Yuko Shimizu. It's a beautiful sweater, colourwork sweater. I saw this just before we left to go away on holidays, and I actually had, it's knit with sock yarn, a sock weight yarn, and I had just bought in our everyday sock, which is a cheaper yarn for people who still love hand dyed yarn but don't want to pay a lot for. The quality and everything is still perfect. We just wanted to offer something that was a little bit more affordable for people. So I decided to knit it out of that just to see how this yarn would knit up in colourwork. So I will put a picture up of the pattern, what it looks like here, so you can get an idea. And this is what I've chosen. I think that's going to be blowing out the colour, hopefully not. So my main colour will be this one, which is Cocoa. The contrast will be, it's sort of, I think that's like coming out neon, but it's actually, it's a bright pink, but it's also got hints of peach and that's Atomic. And then this is another contrast. This is the Polar Bear colorway, which is brand new and it's been very, very popular, and it's basically a warm grey. So yeah, I am going to be casting this on probably this week. As soon as the cardigan is finished, the Look Squirrel cardigan is finished, this one is going to be cast on, and I can't wait. I've haven't done a lot of colour work. I did the Soldotna crop. That was fun, but it's something that it's not a relaxing knit for me. I'm not really that comfortable with colour work yet. I do colour work with two hands, which is great. I enjoy that. But yeah, I'm still sort of learning in a way how to do colour work, so this is going to be a good one. Yeah, and I do have a shawl that I'm thinking of knitting. So just after we came back from holidays, I had a book that was delivered in the mail from Melanie Berg. She put out a new book of shawls, colourwork shawls, and our yarn had been featured in one of the shawl patterns, which was my kryptonite. Anyway, I was looking through the book and unfortunately I didn't bring it with me. But there is a shawl in that and I cannot remember the name. I'll post it up here, I'll put the name down the bottom. But that is the next shawl that I'm going to knit. There is also the Radiate shawl that just came out by West Knits, Stephen West. And it's kind of very similar to Dotted Rays, with the eyelets making the increases. It's like a semicircular shawl. He's got it knit in a semi-solid colour and also in stripes, and I love the striped version. So I am thinking of putting together a colour combination with that and then casting that on. So yeah, I've got lots of things planned. Okay, last thing, sorry I keep bending down. Last thing I want to talk about is a giveaway. I've decided to do a giveaway. I haven't done one for a long time and I feel like the podcast hasn't been regular and I feel bad about that, and I'm going to try and get this going regularly. Now that I have this space set up, I can leave my stuff here and podcast here, so it's a bit easier. But anyway, I wanted to say thank you to all of you who have subscribed, who comment. It means so much to know that there's someone out there listening to me. I'm not just talking to myself. So yes, I have a little giveaway. I am giving away a skein of our top drawer sock in the pixelated colorway, which I knit the Droplet Capelet with. And I have a project bag, which is fun. It's kind of summer themed, we're heading into summer, so it's kind of appropriate. This is made by Ganesh, who sent this to me ages ago. She sent two. This is one of them. I have another one set aside for another giveaway. What does it say? Made with love. That's cute. It's got like a little tag on it. Made with love. So yeah, she sent me two. So I'm going to keep one as for a later giveaway. But I thought these two went together well. Sort of summer holiday fun knitting. They're cute little bags. They're flat. So you can put your, I guess, sock pattern. It's a one skein project bag pretty much. Just slip it in. So, let's see, what can I ask? I did not plan this, I kind of grabbed it, didn't think of a question. So tell me what you would plan to knit with this one skein. Could be anything, whatever you like. Put your comment down below, please subscribe. I'll be giving this away to subscribers only. Yeah, I'll send anywhere in the world, it doesn't matter. And I'll draw this prize. I'll draw this in 2 weeks. I'll give people enough time to kind of watch and comment. So yeah, just comment below what would you make with this one skein of pixelated, and yeah, and subscribe. I think that's it. So I hope you're all really well, and if you are local or if you are someone who drives up and down the east coast, I have to think east coast of New South Wales, and you come past Coffs Harbour regularly, please think about dropping in. Keep an eye out. I have a date sort of set in my head, but I haven't finalized that yet. I'm pretty sure it will be that date, but it will be 1 day a week, Fridays, that will be opening up, and I'll be putting all the details on Instagram, social media, on our website, which is www.skainyarn.com. And it'd be so great to meet you all. If you come, even if you're overseas, Coffs Harbour is a really nice place to visit, and there's so many things around here that you can see, so hopefully you can come visit me too. Anyway, have a wonderful week. I'm hoping to get this podcast up today, which is Monday. Yeah, it was lovely to speak to you guys again, and take care, and see you hopefully next week. Okay, bye!